So Nina, please come up and talk about ethical issues. Thank you.
Good afternoon, you must say now.
Do you want a microphone or do you want to...
I have this.
You've got that.
Yes, thank you. Do you like that, Occupy Mars? Yeah? Good. I love it. How many of you here believe that in the next decade, possibly, human will land on Mars?
Oh, okay.
Amazing. I do as well. I was just last weekend at Mars Society Convention in Arizona. It was a very good thing. Well, you know, many of you probably always get questions like, why would we invest money into space? We opened these questions earlier, and I always get kind of lately annoyed about that, but before I was thinking a lot why people ask these questions, and why can't we invest into jobs on Earth? But come on, you know, those jobs are on Earth, you know. We are not having jobs on Mars yet. And I wanted to explore in my research, Ph.D. research, I'm the last year at 5 years at University of Glasgow, why do we think like that and where is our ethical framework comes from? And I'm going to talk firstly about that, and then I'm going to explain what is ethical possibility for our extraterrestrial life. So, I'm going to try to quickly answer to some questions about contamination, tyranny, body autonomy, liberty, and the nanotechnology. But before that, I want to present you my view on ethical theory. So I'm coming from the virtue ethical experience, if I may say so. So you know these three people there, they didn't live in the same time, they didn't know each other, and they are coming from a very, very different backgrounds. Maybe religious backgrounds you can call it. So the top guy is Aristotle, in the middle is Thomas Aquinas, and at the bottom is Confucius, and they all talk about virtue ethics. What is virtue ethics? Virtue ethics is actually who we are. We want to flourish, we want to be good people. When we do something bad, we try to fix it. Of course, there are always some people in parallel in our life who are not like that, and we imprison them, or possibly back down in history they were killed, you know. But if we were all cannibals, then humanity wouldn't exist anymore. So virtue ethics is it's in us, and it's driving us through this time in evolution. Evolution is social and biological evolution, of course. This is a philosopher I actually quite admire. She's from Edinburgh University, and she talks very well about this virtue ethics, and I would really encourage you maybe to pick up one of her books. And what is very important, what she says, is about chapters about technology, which she applies to Confucius, to Thomas Aquinas, and to Aristotle, and to our everyday life. So the most important about that is that there was never in our evolution human and technology separated. We evolved from Canyon Valley, and we can without fur live on North Pole, South Pole, and we are going to space. So technology, as soon as we invented bow and arrow, our human family became bigger, we were able to feed more people, we survived better, we explored, and now we live in all the continents in our Earth. And this is exactly what virtue ethics is driving us to. Our technological achievement, brought in us, is taking us to, of course, explore our solar system, firstly, and hopefully one day, the whole universe. So, now on Mars, yeah, I didn't write all of the missions, but I just wanted to make a good point that there are 3 countries who ever landed actually on Mars. There were China, Russia first, of course, and then United States and China. And when all this, we don't know actually when exactly we will land on Mars with a human as well, because Elon Musk is pushing this time further and then backwards and further. China doesn't want to tell us much about it. The only country which kind of has a determination are United Arab Emirates. They are claiming by 2100 they will have 600,000 people living and working on Mars. So it's a very ambitious plan, but I found out that they are going to purchase some of the starships, or they maybe already did, from SpaceX. So the problem is also what is restricting us is this 26 months window we have to catch when we are able to go from Earth to Mars, and the next opportunities are forecast possible are for 2025, 2027 and 2031. So I don't think this will happen, of course, but possibility is 2033 and 2035, and I hope for that will happen. And then the next windows will be 2037 and 2040. So the first ethical question, or dilemma you can call it, is about contamination. Yeah. Are we allowed to go to the planet we're not made of? Are we allowed to contaminate that planet with our bacteria, with our ecosystems? Of course, there are different views here. We are not entirely related if there is life on Mars, because we are not entirely related to life on Earth either. Yeah? So we had COVID, we were coughing next to the tree. I mean, the tree didn't get COVID, probably. I don't think so. But these are still subject to explore. But what about interplanetary contamination? Mars was contaminated many times in the past. There were big impacts in our solar system, and the rocks were flying all over our solar system. Not to mention, we have on Earth rocks from Mars as well. So we don't know, maybe that contamination happened or is going on all the time. Now, there was a big questions, and there were a lot of articles written about that we already contaminated Mars with the rovers, which are there. And of course, NASA is saying that they are looking that they are not bringing more than 300,000 bacterial spores on any surface. They did, with Perseverance rover, they did quite well preserve the rover, so they wouldn't bring anything there. And the question is, when all those samples the rover is still collecting come back to Earth, possibly in very soon in the next decade, the problem is that how are we going to find out that these are not our bacteria already, which we flew there and back? So the next question is related to what I asked you earlier about are humans going to Mars, and as we all know, we are going to Mars. It's about a question which is opened in the Charles Coquel's later book, which was released last year, for example, on question on tyranny. How will humans live there in a little environment, in a very small, actually, environment as well, and with the limitation of going out because we are not protected by solar radiation, there is a thin atmosphere, all sorts of other questions. So what actually Charles also says is that the tyranny can emerge from people having control over oxygen, over food supply, over your everyday life there, and we should see here better into how the big corporations will work, how they work in, for example, oil fields, because this is one of a very restricted area. You can't just say, that's enough, I'm going to pack my bags and go. You're very limited as well there with all the supplies. You completely depend on people supplying you with food, water, and everything else. So, what the virtue ethic talks about is that throughout our evolution, social evolution, we created all these tools, not just technological tools, But we created schools, courts, hospitals, governments, which help us to be better, to live better life. And these are all at our help. So maybe we should look, in a case when we are going to Mars, to live and work on Mars, that maybe it's better that we kind of frame our life in kind of organization, which is not private organization, which is not directly from the benefactors who are sending us there, who are the owners of the mission, but establish like a body, you know, like we have university or court or bank, you know, which will monitor our life there. So this is a suggestion from virtue ethics, so everybody of course can have their own opinion about it. Now, another ethical dilemma and question is on bodily autonomy, because autonomy actually talks about the ideal of autonomy is that an agent, like a human, in our case living on Mars, is a self-governing and can decide for itself, by itself, you know, what is valuable for his, her life, and what decision he or she will make. Well, this is a problem because in living on Mars, you can't have that kind of autonomy you have on Earth, you know, where oxygen is for free as well. And in the worst case, you can go and you can hunt in the forest or pick up some mushrooms. I mean, I'm really talking like worst case now. But how is our body be regulated in a little environment, in a very small compact or small village of let's say first generation of Martians there? So well as the body autonomy, it's autonomy as a broad noun. So regulations, restrictions, playing by the rules, watching computer all the time, this is time to sleep, this is time to wake up, this is time to... So actually, the autonomy will be absolutely a different noun as it's on Earth. So people who will go there will have to be aware and will have to, in a way, train or be that kind of personality who will be able to obey and apply to certain rules that they can actually have a flourishing and good life there. Liberty. We all love this noun, and we still see wars going on, and we still see people devastated on Earth. How are you going to live a liberal and liberty life there? There is no freedom of movement. There is a little environment all around you. And what is very, very crucial here is, I mean, if people will live there for a longer time, I feel for the first and second generation of Martians, because they will evolve into Martian gravity. And they will never be able to come and see their grandparents back on Earth. And they will maybe want to be a veterinarian, but there will be no animals there for quite a long time. So they will have also a very big limitation on the jobs they can take, you know. They will still have that idea of an earthen life, but they will never be able to experience it. So this is just one part of liberty. Now this is my favorite actually. This is the heart of my research at the University of Glasgow. It's on nanotechnology. And I see Mars also as a big opportunity for humanity to change into another level of humanity we never seen before, we never explored before, and so it is. Living on Mars will actually demand all sorts of technologies to use to support our everyday life there. And nanotechnology is one of the things we will heavily depend on. Because we can't fly big machines from Earth to Mars There is a question also about mass, how to bring there and how to land them, and there are so many other questions. We will have to actually bring some artificially created DNA looking like formulas, which can be particles, which can be self-sustained, self-replicable, which can build the house by itself, which can be made of bar and silicon and in any case, things which can be still existence on hot or cold and not like our organic molecules, which are quite limited. So nanotechnology is a big problem at the moment because it's not fully allowed to use in our Earth life. And I'm deliberately using this noun Earth life because there's a Hannah Arendt, a philosopher, who's talking about we humans should never go and leave the Earth because this is the end of the humanity. And I agree only that this is the end of the humanity as we know now, but it's the beginning of humanity, which we are driving to, and if we want or if we don't want, because we are human beings, and technology is, like I said, part of our everyday life. So we have some nanotechnology examples on Earth. We have 3D printing. We have it in nanomedicine, but you know, in limited sections. We have idea of space elevator. We have sunscreen and so on. And there is a very, very specific thing about humanity and human sapiences, if you know what I mean. There are some organisms in the world, like bees and ants, who are also workers like us. We are workers. You know, there are some animals, you know, who are workers as well. You know, on a certain amount of time, the birds are workers because they have to make a nest. But none of these species act like humans. So we first have idea in our head, and then we develop this idea, and then we make something from this idea. We create something new. And that's how we created this technology. We created our idea we're going to space, and no ethics can stop that, because this is who we are. And everyone who's saying to me, oh, you know, we shouldn't go, it's just not understanding who we actually are. Well, finally, the last ethical dilemma or ethical question is on terraforming. And as you probably know, Bob, and he wrote many books. He actually has another one coming out soon. But I'm applying now to his chapter on terraforming Mars. And he's saying like, oh, we can terraform Mars in 50 to 200 years. We know how to do it well on Earth. We warmed up our planet. If we warm up Mars, you know, we're quite good about this. You know, we can create in 50 years the atmosphere. The ice will release into the atmosphere. We will be protected from solar radiation. Of course, oxygen will still not be there. We need another million years for plantation and for free breathing. We don't know why Mars lost electromagnetic field and why this atmosphere vanished. So maybe we cannot terraform at all. We'll see. But this is also another ethical question. And I say, you know, Mars is probably not really the place we will stay there. It's the first place we must go to learn about our past and our future, to be close to asteroid belts, so we can get some sources of energy, but also to get interplanetary protection, because a lot of meteors might come from that direction. And if you have a base on Mars, you might be well to derail them or even blow them up. So, well, because we are so limited on time, I'm thanking you for listening to this presentation. By the way, this is my model. I presented at Mars Society convention my way how to go without paying $250,000 one way to go to Mars for free. So if anybody wants to ask me later, I have a very good idea, they loved it, but it is possible with my system I created to go for free to Mars and back if you want to come back. Thank you!